Right, welcome back. Another Royals episode. Of course, we're coming off the 2025 season where we went 92-70, finished second in our division, and lost in the divisional series, I think. I just try to forget these things. So who's even sure where we lost? And again, of course, that was second place here in the NL Central because we've realigned the league. So we entered the offseason, man, like a bit of a transitional year in that number one goal was to get rid of Devers' contract, and we were going to have to fill some holes, but didn't necessarily want to go out and make big splashes, and we don't necessarily have a lot of internal options in AAA to replace guys who might have been losing. So, a bit of a transitional offseason, I would say. But before we get into that, the Pittsburgh Pirates are now the Pittsburgh Gangsters, and this hat is another logo. I don't know if this is the coolest or the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It's a little bit of both. Good luck to the Gangsters. All right. So like I said, number one goal coming into this offseason was to get rid of Raphael Devers, which I'm about to show you that trade. But this wasn't a planned segue, but I'm going to go with it. The goal was to get rid of Devers. But speaking of goals, please click on the link in the description of this video where you can help me reach my fundraising goal to raise money for Parkinson's research. Click on the link. It'll tell you all about it. Man, if everybody who watches this donated like $2, I think I'd reach my goal. So I'm trying to reach my fundraising goal. Click the link in the description if you can spare $2, $5, $10, $20 million. Whatever. I'd really appreciate it if you're able. I know I keep bringing that up in videos. I promise soon I'll stop. But please help me reach my goal. All right. So here is what we did. That's not the right thing. So here's what we did to get rid of Devers. We're going to go back and I'll show you the trade and kind of walk you through how I did it. So we traded Devers and we retained only 5%. We traded him to the Braves. It's pretty remarkable because he was coming off two straight – so he came to two straight negative WAR seasons. He came to us in the final year of his deal and put up like just a monster year at the plate with the 147 WRC plus. And he hurt his back early in 2024. And I don't know if that's what did it, but he wasn't the same player. A 54 WRC plus with negative 1.6 WAR at just the age of 28. I knew this contract was risky, especially as a small market team. I didn't expect it to become so bad so soon. I expected maybe some of these later years, age 31, 32, 33, maybe to be painful. But the Braves took it on. They took on all but 5% of the deal. So we're paying like less than $2 million per year to Devers, which is fine. Now there were a couple different avenues that I went, but really the only way to retain less than say 30% of the deal was to include Edison Suriel, which I really went back and forth on it. I really preferred not to because he's really has potential. I mean, he's as talented as any reliever in baseball. This guy could be the best reliever in baseball, really. Last year for me, in his first full year in the majors, he's a late bloomer. He's 27, but he put up 2 WAR in 83 innings. I think this is a guy who, man, if like things go right for him in a season, he could put up 3 to 4 WAR in the bullpen, no problem. So, but I'm never going to – I don't want to let a reliever keep me from making a trade that I think is really good for my team, even though this guy was going to be such an important part of the bullpen. Can't overstate how good he is. But he's off to the Braves. And so, like I said, I did consider a few different options instead of Suriel. I have some really great young prospects. You can see there are a bunch – I've 5 of the top 27 prospects in baseball, but the oldest one is 19. All of these guys are so far away and could really, things could go either any which way with them that I was willing to give one of them up in a heartbeat for Devers. But unless I want to include like 2 of them plus another prospect or 2, I wasn't going to be able to retain less than like 30% of the Devers deal. So I figured if I'm giving up like a top 20 prospect in baseball, I don't want to be holding on to like $7 million per year of Devers. So that's when I went the Suriel route. Didn't really want to subtract from my major league team because we are trying to win right now. But I think in the end, this was a good good trade for us. So we traded Suriel, Max Mayer, who was pretty disappointing for us in 40 innings last year, 85 innings in AAA, 46 innings in the majors. He just wasn't that good for us. He was really good in AAA. Maybe he'll go to Atlanta and be better, but he was another guy who allowed us to take off a large percentage of the Devers deal. He was a guy that once he was included, they were willing to take on a much bigger hit of his contract. Andres Diaz is a 24-year-old pitcher who might reach the major leagues, but we weren't concerned about trading. And then Luili Ovalai, sure. He's another guy. He had worked his way up to AAA. I think maybe was he a draft pick? No, he's international in real life. So another guy who's just not going to stop me from making that trade, obviously. Now, I'm really surprised by what we got back. There was no other team out there where I could get a trade even nearly this good in terms of, getting rid of 95% of the Devers contract and getting back actual, usable, interesting players. There were some teams where I could get back interesting players but retain like 30 to 40%, or there were some teams where like maybe I could retain like 10, 15%, but I'd be getting back garbage in return or have to take on like a bad contract too. The Braves were for some reason really wanted to get rid of Ryan Ginther, we'll call him, from Hendersonville, Tennessee. He was their 7th round pick in 2025. You can see that my scout, so he was drafted in June, at which point he was a 25, potentially he's now a 55. Look at his stuff going way up. Everything's gone up. His velocity went up a little bit. So, I don't know. They really wanted to get rid of him. Every iteration of the deal, they're like, please take this guy. He pitched well in high A as a rookie right out of the draft. Now he is 23. But he's going to start in Double A, and I think he's a really decent pitching prospect. We also got back Douglas Glod, who we don't have enough hitting prospects in this organization. We have not drafted the guys we've not developed the guys we've drafted. Sorry, taking a bunch of sips here. I'm dealing with a little bit of a sore throat. And as you know, if you follow the channel for a while, sometimes even just talking for a while dries out my throat, but especially when I have a sore throat. So you can see he ripped up rookie ball, and he struggled in A, so he'll be an A ball. He's just 21. He was signed as a free agent in 2022, so I guess he was just a free agent when the game started, maybe? Or no, I guess he was actually signed as a free agent in real life by them. Okay. And then I'm pretty excited about this. Bryce Turang, man, I really, I'm not happy with the depth in the organization, like on my 40-man, like guys who are kind of like maybe backups or like AAA depth. And I think Turang, Bryce, sorry if that's not how to say his name, is that kind of player. Now, he played really well last year between 3 levels. You can see he was awesome in AAA. He was good in the majors. He's got the flexibility of having an option year left. He's got a 60 infield range. So he can play a good second base. He doesn't have third base experience. His 60 arm wouldn't be great, but he could play there. He could fake it at shortstop for you. He could also get some left and right field eligibility, which if he's in the minors to start the year, I plan on doing. So, man, I'm really happy with that trade. Yes, I gave up arguably the best reliever in baseball. Devers, we got rid of 95% of his deal. Now, he was supposed to be a big piece of our offense over the next several years and didn't work out. So, yeah. That's a problem for us that we got to address. But we got back a solid pitching prospect, a decent outfield prospect, and a guy who's going to be useful on our 40-man right off the bat. So, yeah, we are happy with that trade. We made some other moves. Let's talk about them. I think actually there were some were there trades back here before? Yeah, so I traded some guys who were out of minor league options who were not like solidified enough on my major league roster, and I wanted to trade them. And again, I really wanted to increase the depth in the high minors of this team. So that was kind of my goal with some of these trades. We traded Anderson Paulino, who was just kind of a fringe guy and was out of options. And we got back a guy in a minor league contract, Rodolfo Ramirez. He's a leader. That's cool. I don't see great things with this guy, but I think he's good minor league depth, and we didn't have enough of that. And he's only 23. Maybe we find something and tweak something, and he turns into an even better player. We traded Brandon Lewis, who I'm disappointed did not work out for us, but we gave him 195 plate appearance, which is he deserves more of a shot probably, but he put up a 43 WRC plus and negative 1.3 WAR in 195 plate appearances, and he was out of options. So disappointing. I really like those power first guys. We got back Cam Collier, who is not to be confused with the Cam Collier that we drafted, 9th overall in our first year. So this is a guy who's had minor league success. He was drafted in 2024 in the 18th round. Good, decent prospect. And then we got back this guy, Yeri Landonez, who is just, I think, he left. He left the organization. He was a minor league free agent, didn't come back. So we got Cam Cowley. Then we traded Michael Garcia, who was like a utility infielder for us, who is now a gangster. He was out of options and just hadn't solidified himself on the major league roster. And we got back Hudson Head, a very respectable minor league outfielder who's 24 and could make some noise on our major league team this year. Let's see. What else did we do, guys? What else did we do? I'll go over the whole roster too soon in a minute. So we did trade Alberto Mondesi just because his infield range had dropped to where it was only a 60. His outfield range had dropped to 65, so he wasn't going to be in our center fielder anymore, and he was making $12 million. He put up .9 worth of 70 WRC plus last year. We got back 2 pitchers who we're going to use. Framber Valdez, $8.9 million per year, but Houston retained 75%. He has not been good from the last 2 years as a starter. We're going to use him out of the bullpen. I think he could succeed as a bullpen arm for us. We also got back Alex Wood, who the Astros were willing to retain 100% of his deal. I guess they just wanted him gone. We've got him signed for the next 2 years, but if he's bad, we just cut him, and he doesn't cost us anything. He's been bad the last 2 years in Houston. He wasn't terrible, but you can see 3.83 ERA but a 4.66 FIP. So he's only made 9 starts the last 2 years. I think we're gonna roll with him as our number 5 starter. We could always put Valdez in there too. So a lot of pitching depth coming back. We also got back this dude, Colin Barker, who will be a AA outfielder for us. So welcome, Colin. We got Burl Caraway in the Rule 5 draft. This looks like a bullpen arm who we want to have around, eh? What else did we do? So we signed Jose Abreu and Nick Anderson. We'll get to those guys in a minute. Why don't I go ahead? I think that was, let me go ahead and show you the roster here. So our starters would be Melendez, Castellanos, Lofton, Witt, Lopez will be back. Acosta he's a lefty. He will be our starting left fielder against righties. Against lefties, it's going to be Randall Grichuk, who we signed to a 1-year, $1.78 million deal. You say, well, why in the world are you signing him? 74 WRC plus each of the last 2 years. And I'd say, well, the reason that I'm signing him is because versus lefties, he had a 124 WRC plus last year, 118 the year before. As a career, he's a 107 WRC plus guy. So because he hits lefties well, that's why we signed him. I was looking for a platoon guy who wouldn't take up a lot of money and was pleased that Grichuk was out there available. RJ Mayer will come back. We'll see what he can do. This 80 outfield range, he's always going to be interesting to us. He put up 1.2 WAR with just a 58 WRC plus in half a season last year. So, between him and Nicky Lopez at the bottom of the order, it might get rough, but we'll see how it goes. And then Otani in right field, of course, and then Abreu we signed to be our DH. He's getting old. He's 39. His walk rate was down last year. Strikeout rate was up. His BABIP was a bit inflated, but he still put up a 132 WRC plus. What I mean is the wheels could come off here at any point. But he's a captain. He's got good work ethic, and he's hit well. And we needed a power bat. Maybe he'll flop, but it's a 1-year, $12 million deal, so it's not like it's Devers 2.0 if it doesn't work out. Backup catcher is going to be Omar Hernandez, who has worked his way up the ladder. You can see he worked his way all the way up and had spent last year in AAA, spent part of the year before in AAA. He's hit really well basically the last 2 years, so he's our backup catcher. We can essentially carry 5 guys on our bench because Ohtani allows us to have an extra roster spot, and I choose to spend that on a bench bat, I think, over an arm right now. So one of the bench guys is going to be Mike Brousseau. Essentially, with Mondesi going and making $12 million a deal, I brought in basically Terang is a backup to plan for Mondesi, and so is Brousseau. One of the two will replace his spot on the roster. Brousseau is the leading candidate because he's out of options. But a $2.2 million deal, he can play a bunch of positions. He hits lefties well. And he's really cheap. Again, he's another guy who I think it's about deploying him in the right situations against lefties and just a few times per week. JC Correa will come back. He's gotten a chance the last 2 years and hasn't been great, especially for not having a great glove, but I still I like the guy. He's a fly ball hitter, avoids Ks high. Would love if the contact, home run, and I were higher, but we'll see. He'll get another shot. And then who else do we have? Brooksley will be in the running, but the Brousseau signing might have pushed him to the minors to work on his defense at like third and left and right a little bit more. Remember, he started off last year in AAA really hot and then came up to the majors and was awesome for 7 games and then needed shoulder surgery, and he's still hurt from it for another 3 weeks. So we'll see what happens with him. We talked about Acosta. So the bench will be Hernandez, Correa, Brousseau, Acosta, Grichuk. So we talked about those guys. And Brooksley, of course, will be in the running. We did trade for Ryan Mountcastle. This was interesting. I was just kind of messing around, and look how bad he's been, man. Since 2023. I mean, look at the last 2 years. This is like a Devers type thing. And the Orioles just wanted him gone off their roster and ate the entire contract. Now, I did have to give up some players, but like I'm not worried about giving up a 25-year-old with that kind of scouting report. Oops, didn't mean to go back that far. Sorry about that. Gabriel Silva is a catcher that I'm really not worried about giving up. And then Axel Rosario, another 25-year-old arm. Not worried about giving any of those guys up. And Mountcastle is basically first base NDH insurance. Now, he's been terrible, and he might be out of the league soon with how bad he's been. But as an O's fan, I can't quite give up on him if I'm getting him in basically for free. So he has an option year left. He has over 5 years on the secondary or major league service time. I'm pretty sure in Out of the Park it works the same way that as real if he can decline that option, or he can refuse the option, I think. But hopefully he won't because he's been bad, and I'll just cut him. He's free, risk-free move there. Anybody else here that we need to talk about right now? I don't think so. No. Okay, let's go to the pitching side of things. And did I say this at the beginning that we're on February 24th? So we're about to enter the spring. So we've got Singer, Marsh, Ohtani, no surprises there. Wood and Lacey, I think we'll go into the spring as our 4 and 5 guys. But again, we've got guys like Framber Valdez, Angel Zerpa, who could come in and possibly take one of these rotation spots. Will Klein will come back from a year last year when he was not very sharp and then he was hurt. But hopefully he can be a good stopper for us. Luke Murphy is back. Valdez is here. We signed Nick Anderson to a 1-year, $6 million deal because we needed bullpen help. And we don't love the extreme fly ball here, but hopefully in Kansas City that plays okay. I had some trouble. He was probably my third choice on the free agent market and just wasn't able to bring in the other guys that I want. Hernandez will be back. Caraway's a Rule 5 guy. Garcia's back for another year. Zerpa's back. And then here are our depth guys. We signed Sixto Sanchez, who you can see in 2023 was just freaking brilliant. And then he went to Milwaukee and was good and then was just awful last year. And did he spend time in AAA? No. So maybe he had a injury. I'm trying to remember. Yeah. So he missed 8 months with elbow surgery on his right elbow and then came back and missed 10 months. So he's missed basically almost the last 2 full seasons with 2 different elbow surgeries. So not good at all. in terms of that. But my scout still thinks he's okay. He was very cheap, and again, he's got an option year. This is 40-man depth. He's probably not going to make the team. Juan Idrigo is a 23-year-old who looks interesting. But yeah, that's kind of how the team is shaping up heading into spring training. Box Turtle fans, they went out and they added Yoan Moncada to, how many year deal is this? It's a 3-year deal worth $68.2 million with an opt-out after 1 year. So the Box Turtles are out here making moves, bringing guys in. They made a couple trades, I think, too. So Box Turtles fans, they're not resting on their laurels of making the postseason their first year. So I'm going to skip ahead now here through spring training, and we'll go ahead and pick it up there. This is a good time for you to click on that link in the description and donate $2 so I can get to my goal if every person who watches it does that. Maybe do $4 to cover somebody who's not going to. No, all right. I'll give it a rest. So yeah, let's go ahead and see if we can escape the injury bug here in spring training. All right, so we're at opening day 2026. You can see here predicted to finish with a record of 88-74, 4 games out of first. I guess we might qualify for a wild card here with how we have it set up in the sim, but really it looks like a 3-team fight in the Central, according to this prediction. Astros, Cardinals, Royals predicted to steal 142 bases, which would definitely lead the league. Okay. Really good 3.63 ERA. The 717 runs for is not great, but we've kind of come to expect that from this team in our ballpark. We do have 2 of the top hitters predicted, Ohtani and Witt. Throwing this down is still like pretty, I guess, like a list you'd expect. Guys, Tatis, Julio, Trout, Judge, etc. Nick Pratto here, who is a guy we traded away at the beginning of the sim and did have some decent seasons after trading away, but was not good last year. Okay. And then over here, Dubin, who we've talked about in Houston, Urias, Glass now, McDonald and Owen, some names you might not expect, but Bieber, Bueller, etc. The Dodgers and Angels, top 2 teams in the NL Pacific. Padres expected to drop off a bit. And then in the AL, really just like a fight to see who can be the best of these okay teams here. The Nationals are predicted to score 884 runs, which is by far the most. By far the most. There's only one other team over like 785. So by far the most runs in the AL. And then also have a 4.76 ERA, which is just crazy high. So Nationals games should be fun. So Red Sox, Mets, Nationals, Marlins, and this whole division looks in it. The AL Atlantic, the Braves, predicted to win the Atlantic. The Box Turtles, though, man, respectable. The Gangsters, not so much. Top hitters, Soto, Ramirez, Harper, etc., etc. Top pitchers, you'll see Edison Suriel expected to be a top pitcher even though he's a reliever. So we escaped the spring without too much in terms of injuries. Seth Martinez and DL Hall, those were from last season. J.C. Correa, a bench bat for us, fractured his hand early in spring training. He's got another 4 days left. And then we've got Colby White, who is going to be like a minor league dude for us, kind of like bullpen depth. He's out for 2 weeks. These guys, the computer's releasing that all looks fine. All a bunch of 20s, 25s, 20. Oh, who's this guy? Oh, why are we getting rid of him? Really? Is he like the worst? Can we like find room for him on our AA team? Probably not, but we'll see what they say. He's 25. That's fine. He's 25. That's fine. I think, so yeah, just to, I know we kind of met the team already, but we'll have Brooks Lee on the bench. We'll have Bryce Terang on the bench. Of course, they are replacing Correa, and then of course the extra spot. We can carry 14 hitters because Ohtani is a two-way player. And then pitching side of things, no surprises. Singer, Marsh, Ohtani, Wood, Lacey. Bullpen's exactly what I said it would be. So now we will take on the Rockies. Are we at least at home? Yeah, we're at home for this, for opening day. I think I've got the team all. Oh, well, let me show you. We've got the, I think, the top farm system again, just because of these. We got the 1st, 4th, 12th, 23rd, and 26th best player. But again, the oldest one is 19. I can't get too excited about that yet. First farm system, blah, blah, blah. Cool, yeah, let's just like, I think I have the roster set up. Let's see how we do here against the Rockies. Oh, so we lost, and our starting second baseman strained his abdominal muscle, and he's out for 8 weeks. So that's cool. That's definitely cool. We'll put him on the 15-day, or 10-day, I mean, because we don't need the 60-day spot. So we lost 8-5. Let's just finish the day, get it over with. Lost 8-5 to the Rockies. Top of the order, Witt, Melendez did work. Ohtani looks like he went yard in the first inning, but then the bottom of the order just didn't do much, and the pitching didn't do much either. Brady Singer just absolutely throttled. Valdez got hit. So now we have some decisions to make at second base. It's really, do we want Brousseau? He's a 55 range. Do we want Terang in his 60 range? Or Brooks Lee, also an option with his 60 range. Really, I think Terang can play against righties, yeah, and Brousseau can play against lefties, and then Lee can play like multiple days per week, I think is what it will end up being. So we put Terang in there, we put Brousseau in here, and this still looks okay. Yeah, that looks fine. Oh, wait, did I do that backwards? I think I did that backwards. I did. All right, so we'll put Brousseau in against lefties, and he'll go there. Oh, man, that's a lot of lefties in a row, but I really don't like Lopez batting so high in the order. Our bottom order is weak as hell, man, because we go so defense first, especially with Lopez and Mayer. So against righties, we do want Terang in there. Wow, that is so lefty heavy. But yeah, I think it's what we're gonna do though. I think it's what we're gonna do. We have pinch hitters in here, but Acosta. All right. So anyways, I'll nerd out on all this stuff and get the team in order. That's all to kick off the 2026 season. I hope you're excited about your team. I hope you got your season tickets, your jerseys, and we'll talk to you guys in the next video with an update on how things are going for your 2026 Royals.